Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Camila Gonzalez, and I am a host and producer with TLN Media Group. We are the official broadcasters of Serie A Italian League Soccer, and over the last 6 years, my work has revolved around European, Canadian soccer, and of course, trying to grow the sport in Canada because we are finally at a point where more and more kids are participating in the sport. And I'm so excited to be here in Alberta. This is my first time in Calgary, and it's crazy to see how many of you are here participating, how many kids are here to meet their players, their favorite players, and of course to continue to grow the sport in this province. And there's no better person to join me on stage than someone who's been around with Alberta soccer for over 20 years. He is an icon when it comes to the sport in this province. So please help me give an incredible warm welcome to the head coach and GM of Cavalry FC, Tommy Wheeldon Jr. Welcome, welcome, Tommy. Nice to see you now. How are you doing today?
Very relaxed, actually. Thanks for asking.
Good. Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
Sunday with the family, with some friends out here. How has it been seeing so many people showing up to support this sport?
Well, it's been phenomenal, really, because it has been a journey. I came here 21 years ago to play, and the professional game wasn't as big as it is now. And then I stayed and coached and worked in the grassroots clubs here in Calgary for 15 years, and then came into the professional league with Cavalry FC. And over the past 5 or 6 years, we've been building it, growing it. And what I see now is there's lots of different colors of the youth clubs, but there's only one professional team now in Alberta, and that's us. And we're able to bring everybody together and give them something to aspire towards.
20 years. A lot of the people in this room were not even born yet, were not even a thought.
Yeah.
What was the scene like for soccer in Calgary 20 years ago when you first arrived?
Well, in the summer, I always thought it was roasting hot, and we used to do great summer camps. But my first winter threw me off because we were going into school gyms, and it was those fuzzy yellow balls, and sometimes over Christmas, you were having like band practices going on. I'm thinking, how can you grow soccer in this country without facilities when we have such a long winter? And credit to a lot of the clubs that have now gone out and got turf facilities. There's full size, there's a lot more opportunity for the kids than there was back then.
And in terms of professional games and development for your own career and fans that would come out, was there a community? Let's give that a second.
Yes. I do.
I know.
Anyone else?
I feel like we should go line up
Get
now.
some hands.
All right, a brief intermission there, but just in terms of, again, your own career development, professional games, the audience, was it there or was it still a bit of a niche?
So there's one of our players, Charlie Trafford, is over there now, and Marco Carducci, they're both Calgarians. Marco came through the Calgary Villains Club. Charlie came through the Calgary Foothills Club, and I coached Charlie. And I coached him at U16 through to U18, and we won a national championship 14 years ago to the day yesterday. And at the end of it, thank you very much, thank you. That became a start because we looked at each other then, and he's seen how passionate I was, and I was still a young coach. He was a young, talented player, but there was no professional team for him to go to here. So he used his European passport, he went overseas, and he said, look, I'm going to go chase my dreams, and he ended up playing for the men's national team. And that was because of his desire and his drive to leave Canada. Nick Ledgewood, very similar, and pave a pathway that wasn't there. And I made him a promise that day. I said, okay, you go and chase your dreams, and I'll try building some. And I said I wanted to try and bring professional soccer back to Calgary. And we're not an overnight success. This has been 15, 20 years in the taking. But Charlie and I made that promise, and we would see each other every few years that we'll return to lift a trophy again together. And yesterday was really poignant that we actually did.
A lot of dreams that you have been building. Again, yesterday is just a testament to that hard work, to over 20 years of that. I'd love to talk about the pathway. I mean, you mentioned Nick, you mentioned Charlie, but can you give some other examples of players that have kind of followed that pathway, and then what the current state of that looks like today?
So I think what we're doing now is we're recognizing that in Alberta and in Calgary and in Canada, we have to think different. We have to be different. We're not in Germany or in England or Spain where there's professional academies that can play against each other. We don't have that luxury. However, we do have a province, and Alberta Soccer, and I think Jason Blake's here somewhere over here, that's helping redesign a performance pathway, a pathway for the recreational player and a pathway for all. What we feel is our obligation is to be at the pinnacle of that and to help players come through, play for us, and then move on. Like, we feel that, we've just sold a Gauthier Tigney who's from Coaldale, Alberta. We've sold him into Francis Div 2. Victor Lattori is from here, and he's playing in Scotland. Arabin Peppel with Luton Town. We're part of a greater pathway, but what we said is we don't feel it's right to take the players away from their youth clubs, but we can supplement and support. So we will recognize talented players from the ages of 15 to 17. We'll train them a couple of times. They'll train with their clubs and play for their clubs. And if they're at 16, 17, we'll start to make a decision on them, and we'll bring them into our full-time U21 team in hopefully the League One Alberta, which is a semi-pro league around the world. And then, if they're good enough, they'll play for our first team.
And something that's going to help that pathway is this partnership with Alberta Soccer. Can you tell us about how this partnership came about, what it entails, and how it's really going to change the future?
Well, my one of my right-hand men, Leon Hapgood, has been pivotal in this. He's not here today, but I worked with him building Calgary Foothills back in the day, and he was very big on designing a program that was going to complement the youth structure around here. And he worked with Jason Blake and Lisa Grant at Alberta Soccer and said, look, let's build this program from basically high school years, that 2008 to 2006. And we'll look at males and females, and we'll supplement their training with our Cavalry coaches and just help them get onto a pathway that could be to the pros, it could be to colleges, and it could be to the national program. So it's actually set to launch next week. And beyond that, like I said, we have our U21. So it's taken us about 5 years to get to a place now, but we want to try and improve the environment as best as we can.
A lot of options for young players to choose from. There's college, there's obviously youth development. There's a lot of kids in this room that probably want to become a professional soccer player one day. So can you talk about what a local player, what that would look like, from being 8, 12, 15 years old onwards? What paths can they choose, and how can they eventually join a team like Cavalry FC?
Well, what I like is you got the clubs over here. You've got EMFC, you got Chinooks, you got Mackenzie, you got West Hills, you got Foothills, and I think from the technical directors and the academy coaches I've met at these clubs is everybody's trying to create what's the most important thing: a positive experience for the kids. I think it starts there. It starts with their clubs. In second to that, and this is where Nick Ledgerwood's been great. Nick has now helped create these soccer camps. We have a thing called Train with the Pros and Train Like the Pros. So the pros you see up there will come out and in the summer and train with these kids. And actually, have any of you kids been to our summer camps? Any of them? Yeah? Got a couple? Okay, good. So we want to create an experience that they don't forget, so they can come out and sample what it's like, supplement what they're doing with their clubs, and if it encourages them to then go away and train on their own and research more on their own, then we've helped kind of facilitate those dreams.
And Nick, before we keep talking about Cavalry FC, Alberta Soccer, I think it's time for a very special moment. Now, our friends at Maple Lodge Farms have actually provided a prize package for someone in the audience. We're going to have a quick trivia question, and the way it's going to work, I'm going to need your help with this because I can't actually see that far.
Okay.
It's going to be the first person to stand up and give us the right answer. We're going to have to be diplomatic about this. It's a very tough question. So are you guys ready?
Can't hear you. Are you ready? No. Are you ready? They're ready.
Thank you. All right. The question is, where does Cavalry FC play their home games? I think I saw you right there.
At Cofield.
Round of
Boom.
applause. Nailed it.
Mic drop.
Congratulations.
Well
What's
done.
your name? Lucas. Lucas, could you please join our volunteer right over there? She's going to make sure you get your prize package.
Well done, Lucas.
Well done. Quick other intermission for an announcement.
That's it.
Okay, so there will be more opportunities to win during every single panel. Maple Lodge Farms has this opportunity, so there'll be more trivia questions, more chances
Awesome.
to win.
Awesome. Thanks, Maple Lodge.
Now let's talk about the influence that Cavalry FC has, because we've spoken about the help that Alberta Soccer is giving, we've spoken about the work that you've built. What do you think having a team like Cavalry FC right here in the city is doing, not only for the soccer community, but for such a large group of people that perhaps only knew hockey or CFL? Like, what do you think it's doing for the city?
Well, a couple of things. I think Calgary, my first impressions when I moved here 21 years ago, it's a phenomenal sporting city, whether it be the Flames or whether it's the Stampeders or the Roughnecks. We're now part of that family because we've created the professional league, the Canadian Premier League. We've created a team here from Calgary. And it wouldn't be without our ownership group, the Southern family and Spruce Meadows. Spruce Meadows is a very, very special place as people who've visited. Hands up who've been to a game at Spruce Meadows. Awesome. How good is it? That wasn't very loud. How good is it? There you go, thank you. And that's what we're trying to create. And I always feel if you can see it, you can be it. And the Southern family, the reason they invested in the game here was the same reason they did it for equestrian. And now, Rolex and the Masters all come through Spruce Meadows, and the Olympians that it's created for Canada. When I told the story to Linda Sutton-Heathcott and Ian Allison about why professional soccer in this country is important, it was for Canadians, and it was to put more and more Canadians on the map and potentially international team. And in our short 5 years, Marco Carducci's over there. He's been selected. Dominic Zator, another local guy. Victor Lattori, Joel Waterman played for us and went to the Qatar World Cup. And the list is growing. And hopefully we're playing our part to service Canada.
And as someone from the East Coast, I've heard a lot about, the soccer industry in Toronto and in Montreal. So can you describe the current state of the market in Alberta?
Growing. And I think the scenes from yesterday when we lifted the shield and the kids run on the pitch, the families were there, the supporters, there was tears, there was cheers of emotion, there was lots of things. Look, people up there now. So I think for us it was a really unique situation to be a part of, and it's growing, and it's so important to have people to share these dreams with us.
And what do we still have to do to continue that growth and expedite it?
One by one. We bring people to the games one by one. We put on camps, we put on clinics, we include people, we include clubs. We've got a club program where the kids will walk out with our players and be the ball boy or ball girl in the games, and they're having an experience that they can't get just doing a video game. We've got to keep creating live experiences, and these young kids have lost out on 2 years of social interaction because of the pandemic. Now we're seeing a growth in it more and more.
And you actually played for your father when he was a coach, and I think that might be a situation that a lot of kids end up having, a mom or a dad that are involved in the coaching staff. What advice do you have for those parents when they're training a young kid?
Well, the best thing my dad did for me, 2 things. He believed in me and he challenged me. So he knew when I was kind of slacking, he would challenge me. But also he would recognize when I wasn't doing well and had a drop in confidence, and he would believe in me. And it might be something as simple as he would clean my boots and leave it with a note and keep it simple, kid, or just something like that. And then when I was getting ahead of my station, he would level me out a little bit and just say, come on, you're better than that. You don't need to act like that. He was always very good for me. So those of you that with your kids, I always said there's things that you should say in the car is, did you have a good time? Did you have fun? I really enjoy watching you play. And I think if we, as parents, keep it simple, my son's here, he's 14, and I watch him play. I don't coach him. I give the responsibility. His actual coach is behind there, Al Fernandez, and I support his journey because I just want to be the dad. I want to enjoy watching my son do something for his dreams. It's not my journey, it's his journey. I get to join him, and that's what you got to do as parents, is join your kid's journey. It's not you that's kicking the ball, but it's you that's driving the car to get them to the places. And when they're out there, have fun with it.
And the most important part of the Allstate Soccer Show is, of course, this connection with the fans, with the audience. So I would like to open up the stage for anyone, whether you're a kid, whether you're a parent. If you have any question, you have an absolute expert on Alberta soccer right here. So we do have a runner somewhere with a microphone. She's right over there. So please put your hand up if you have a question for Tommy. Oh, we've got one right over here.
He's got a microphone coming.
Yep, right here.
How would you get on Cavalry?
Good question. So it starts with, what club do you play for now? Do you play for a club?
MUSC.
MUSC. So Paul Schultz would be the technical director, right? So Paul runs a really good program, and he makes the game very fun for the kids to be a part of. How you'd get on from it from there is you would just keep playing well, keep playing well. I would encourage you to attend our camps. So then we get to know you. And then we usually start to look at players around that 14, 15, 16. That's what our ID program is. So we will speak to the technical directors who act as our allies, and they recommend high-performing players that they say, this player is super athletic, this player has an unbelievable attitude, this person has a really killer first touch and a hammer of a shot. Everybody has different strengths. So if you think of superheroes, not all superheroes are the same, and it's the same with you players. You've got to find out what your superpower is. Have you got a hard shot? Do you run faster than everyone else? Do you make every tackle? Do you commit to every single training session? Keep working on your superpowers. Keep coming to our camps, clinics, keep training with your club, and we'll keep our eyes out for you. Cool?
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think we've got another question right over here in the front row.
How long have you been playing soccer?
Well, actually, I played soccer the other day. I'm 44 now, and I was sore for a week, so I don't technically play soccer as much as I'd like to anymore. But I was probably late to start playing. My dad was a professional player, and I didn't really get into it till I was about 7, which is actually quite late growing up in England. So 44 minus 7 is what? Okay,
37.
there you go. 37 years I've been playing.
I was worried he wasn't going to have the answer. And I was going to have to quickly.
I was doing the math in my head as well. I'm like, I better get this right if it comes back to me.
Do we have any other questions in the audience? Oh, we've got one right over here. Yep, just keep your hand raised, please, so the runner can find you.
Where are you guys at in terms of building a professional female soccer league in Alberta, Canada-wide?
So good collab. And I think I'll say first and foremost, it absolutely needs to happen. We as a club, we're only just started on the male one. I believe Project 8 is, from what I'm understanding, is the one that's got the lead here in Alberta and have got the rights for the upcoming league. So I think that's a question best versed to them. But I can tell you this much, I'll come out and support it on games I don't have to coach myself, because I think it's important for males and females to have a professional pathway.
And thank you so much, actually, for asking that question, because I think that's the one topic that we haven't really touched on in this conversation, and it is, the pathway for a female player. And for all the young girls that are out here, they've fallen in love with the sport. They go to the games at Cavalry. The only really chance that they get at seeing a professional team is when the Canadian women's team is playing. So what's the future like for them? What's the pathway like for them? What can they do as kids to kind of push forward their career in the future?
Well, we have a female owner. Well, I think we're one of the very few sport clubs in the world that has a female ownership group, and we believe in helping the community. So in the absence right now, instead of just concentrating on just the male players, females come to our camps, females come to our games, and we're also now within our ID program from U15 through to U17, we're going to have the top 20 female players, because we don't want to just have them wait and say, right, you just sit there until this professional club turns up. We'll help so that when Project 8 and the club X comes into Calgary, we've helped our community, because I think we're stronger together. So we'll keep doing that until Project 8 get off the ground.
Thank you, Tommy. Now, are there any more questions before we wrap up this panel? Oh, right over there.
Just over.
Really got her running around
There you
today.
go. Getting your steps in today.
What club did you play for when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, my first club was a club called Prince Rock. What a cool name, eh? It was a club that was just outside of Plymouth. I loved it, and I can remember two of my teammates, Andy Sargent and Jamie Ahern. We don't talk anymore, but I would have been 7, 8, 9 at the time. But the friends you play with now and you go to battle with, you'll remember them for the rest of your life.
The accent didn't give it away. He's not from Calgary.
Red Deer. Talk with the Queen's English out there, don't we?
Do we have any more questions? All right. Well, thank you so much for being such a great audience.
Thank you.
And Tommy, thank you for being a part of this important conversation. And we absolutely wish you the best of luck in continuing this growth. I can't wait to see how far you can take Alberta Soccer and Cavalry FC. A round of applause, please, for Tommy Wheeldon Jr.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you.